This video is Mrs. K's way of solving multi-step problems with fractions and mixed numbers from the GoMath textbook, and we are going to be focusing on problem number 5. So in this video, we are going to be doing the number 5, doing a KWC chart like we've been doing in class, and then we're going to solve that problem. So looking at a KWC chart of our different problem, we know a few things. So we want to start with what do we know for sure? And this is what we know. So we know that she has 1/4 of an hour for a trim, 1/6 of an hour for a style, 3 1/3 hour each day is how long she works, and she works for 5 days each week. So we can put that in our chart to know all the things we know. Now we want to try to figure out what do we want to find out. And this is also located in the problem itself, and sometimes it's just that last sentence that ends in a question mark. So in this case, we want to know how many appointments can she, the hairstylist, schedule each week if the customer gets both a trim and style. So we need to figure out not only how long she works each day, but for the full week, and then how many appointments can she make. We also need to be aware of a few conditions. There's only one question to answer, but we might need to use multiple steps since there's so many numbers, and we need to be aware of the fraction rules since this is a fraction problem. So let's try to think of all the different steps that we need. I kind of broke it up into 3 different ideas. We need to know, since the customer is going to be both trimmed and styled, I'm going to need to know how long a trim and style takes. So let's try to figure that out. Well, I know it's 1/4 hour for a trim and 1/4 hour for a style. So I know I want to add these two numbers. So I have 1/4 and 1/6. Well, I can't add these together because I do not have common denominators. So the first thing I need to do is write in common denominators. So since my least common multiple of 4 and 6 is 12, I know that 1/4 is the same as 3/12, and 1/6 is the same as 2/12. And when I add them together, I get 5/12. Now this 5/12 represents 5/12 hours for both a trim and a style. Well, I also know that she works 1/3 hour each day and 5 days each week. So the next thing I need to do is find out how many hours she works in the 5 days of the week. So first I want to try to make sure I know that I'm going to be taking 3 1/3 and I'm going to be adding it 5 different times. But instead of adding 5, I remember that repeated addition is the same as multiplication. So I can multiply 3 1/3 times 5, the hours per 1 day, times 5 days. Now it's not really easy to multiply a mixed number and a whole number, so I'm going to change both into improper fractions. So I have that 3 1/3 is the same as 10/3, and any whole number such as 5, I can make a fraction by placing it over 1. As I multiply across, I get 50/3, because I multiplied 10 times 5 and 3 times 1. And if I wanted to, I could put this into a mixed number, which is 16 2/3 hours in 5 days. Now, I have a feeling I'm going to be using this information again, so I might actually want to save 50/3 since I'm probably going to be using it again, and I know that I might want to be using an improper fraction instead of a mixed number. So now I want to answer this last question, because this is the question I need to know. How many appointments? So how many 5/12 hour appointments, which we calculated right here, is both trim and style, how many of those appointments can she schedule in her 53rd hour week, which we had here? So we want to try to find, if we look at it visually, how can we chop up 53rd hours into groups of 5/12. So since we're trying to find how many groups there are, that means that we are going to be dividing. So if we look at this, we are going to see that it is 50 thirds divided by the 5/12 appointments, and we know that that's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So instead of dividing, we're multiplying, and the reciprocal of 5/12 is 12/5. Now we can simplify by knowing how many times 5 and 50 and 3 and 12 go into each other. Now simplifying, we see that it is 10 times 4, which is equal to 40, over 1 times 1, which equals 1, which means the hairstylist can make 40 appointments a week. For watching this extra video, you get an extra little treat of a picture of little baby Callie when she was only about 26 pounds. Nowadays, she's almost 100 pounds, so she's definitely grown a lot.